What's going on? You already know it's your boy, Little T. Back in full effect. You already know how I'm rocking, man. Hey, man, check it out, check it out, check it out. So we got the Pittsburgh Steelers know exactly what they're doing. I guess he's gonna talk about the quarterback situation because that's the main thing. What I think they're doing is Russell Wilson gonna be that starter for this year. You feel me? Wilson, he looking for a money grab, a long-term deal, so this is a chance to prove it this year. Show teams that he still got it. And the Steelers gonna move on with Justin Fields. So yeah,
the Pittsburgh Steelers have been
that should be good for Justin Fields. You get to learn behind Russell Wilson, and then you take over.
The that were on the roster last season are all gone, and they've already added 2 guys to replace them. Last season, Kenny Pickett was the main starter, but Mitch Trubisky and Mason Rudolph also started 5 combined games. The Steelers somehow went 10-7 with that trio and lost in the wild card to the Bills. Fast forward, and less than a week into the new league year, Pickett has been traded, Trubisky was released, and Rudolph isn't under contract anymore. That opened the door for the Steelers to go out and sign Russell Wilson and trade for Justin Fields. Life behind center hasn't exactly been perfect since Ben Roethlisberger retired. And now the Steelers are going in a completely different direction. But the question is, will it just be another disaster? Following the 2022
they got 2 shots at it. If Russell Wilson fucked up, you still got Justin Fields. If both of them fucked up, yeah, that's his bad luck.
But clearly that wasn't the case. Pittsburgh used the 20th overall pick on him after he had a fantastic 5th season at Pitt, where he won ACC Player of the Year. He had 42 passing touchdowns on the year. His career high before that season was 13, a mark he hit twice in both 2019 and the shortened 2020 year. Unfortunately for him, his NFL career went a lot more like his undergrad seasons at Pitt. He only has 13 passing touchdowns in his first 2 years in the pros.
Damn.
13 touchdowns in 25 games.
Damn.
Yeah,
it
wasn't always pretty. It was actually almost never pretty.
You can't keep getting away with it!
It wasn't very hard to see that Pickett wasn't going to be the long-term solution at quarterback.
Facts.
And the Steelers obviously knew that.
I knew that
he
his
got
first
2
season.
years to prove himself, but just wasn't good enough. After Pittsburgh signed Russell Wilson, Pickett wasn't happy and requested a trade. It was granted, and he was sent to the Eagles with a 2024 4th.
I mean, why you wasn't happy, bro? You thought you were gonna be a starter somewhere else, bro? Now you a starter behind Hurts. Like, you feel me? I mean, if that's what you wanted, but
for a 2024
yeah, nigga, you know he's not a starter type quarterback. You're a second string / third string type.
Behind Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
And Philly also has 2023 6th round pick Tanner McKee on the roster.
What the hell is that?
I guess we'll just have to wait and see if Kenny Pickett gets another chance to be an NFL starter. But I kind of doubt it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I doubt it.
Pittsburgh is over, and that may have really been his only true shot.
Facts.
Kenny Pickett was the main quarterback.
And
on the
you
roster
never
in
know, though. You
2023,
never know.
But the Steelers fully cleaned
Couple
house.
injuries,
Mitch
couple good
Trubisky
games.
was released in February after 2 seasons in Pittsburgh. Like Pickett, he disappointed early in the pros. Granted, Trubisky went 2nd overall to the Bears in 2017, opposed to 20th where Pickett went. After his rookie deal, he had a year in Buffalo backing up Josh Allen, and then the Steelers signed him to essentially be the bridge quarterback until Kenny Pickett was ready to start. Well, it only took about 4 weeks for him to get benched for Pickett. He did go on to sign an extension with Pittsburgh, but was ultimately released and went on to sign back with Buffalo. Finally, there's Mason Rudolph, who was once considered
bro,
the future
I ain't gonna lie, bro. Only thing I know about Mason Rudolph is Myles Garrett smacking that nigga on the head with his helmet.
Big Ben. He was a 2018
That's the only thing I know about y'all.
He did ultimately play in 21 games in Pittsburgh with 19 touchdowns, which admittedly was better than what Pickett did.
Yeah,
he
facts.
spent 6 seasons with the Steelers and is now on a 1-year deal with the Titans. Will Levis is likely the guy in Tennessee, at least for now, and Malik
Did Ryan
Willis is
Tannehill get
also
picked up
still
yet?
on that roster as well. The Steelers have made quite a few changes at quarterback, and I think it's safe to say that it was necessary.
Facts.
None of the guys in-house were getting it done.
Facts.
So the Steelers went out and got 2 guys who are both looking for a shot at redemption.
Facts.
Looking at the Steelers next season, the expected starter is Russell Wilson. He's been around for what feels like forever, and he's landed himself another starting job. He started in at least 14 games every year of his career, dating all the way back to 2012. He was great with the Seahawks for a decade, and even won the Super Bowl in 2011 alongside Pete Carroll before he was ultimately traded
And
to
the
the
Legion of
Broncos.
Boom, don't forget
Now,
them.
Year 1 in Denver was a complete mess with Nathaniel Hackett. but
His
it
second year
at
was pretty
least better
cool.
last season with Sean Payton.
Yeah, bro,
running
I ain't gonna lie. Last season, he did pretty good. I'm not gonna say it was like his best season, but it wasn't bad by no
Wilson
terms.
threw just 16 touchdowns in 15 games in 2022. Last season, he threw for 26 in just as many games. But the Broncos still decided to release him at the start of the new league year. Russ inked a one-year deal for the veteran minimum with Pittsburgh, but the Broncos still have to
pay him
pay the rest of
$38
that
million.
$37.8 million
So he good.
salary thanks to that 5-year, $242.6 million
That's
extension he
guaranteed. That's
signed
already in the
after he was
bank.
traded there in 2022. Russell Wilson is now 35 years old, and he's had a lot of success in the league, but that doesn't change the fact that he hasn't thrown for 30 touchdowns in a season since 2020, which was his 4th straight, and he had 40 at the time. I'm not quite sure how much he has left in the tank, but we did get glimmers of
I
old
think he
Russ
should be
at
good,
times
bro.
in 2023, so maybe the chef has a few more recipes up his sleeve.
I
But
think
luckily
the
for
Broncos was just a
Pittsburgh,
bad
if he does
stop. You
slip
know,
up,
remember how Randy Moss he went to the Raiders? I think the Broncos was Russell Wilson's Raiders.
the Steelers have a backup plan. Justin Fields. One of the biggest storylines coming into the new league year was what the Bears were going to do at quarterback. Specifically, what was going to happen to Justin Fields. The Bears had the first overall pick back at the 2023 NFL Draft, but decided to trade it away to the Panthers, who went on to take Bryce Young. That gave Justin Fields another season in Chicago, but Carolina was so bad that the Bears again have the first overall pick thanks to that trade. This time around, they aren't going to pass up on a new quarterback, likely taking Caleb Williams. The Bears opted to trade Justin Fields to the Steelers.
It'd be shocking if they don't.
6th-round pick that does convert to a 4th rounder if Fields plays 51% of snaps this upcoming season. That means that Pittsburgh does now have to make a decision on his 5th-year option. It'd be a $25.7 million contract, so it feels unlikely that they'd pick it up. But even if Fields does ball out this season somehow, the Steelers could still just franchise tag him. He feels like a very high upside backup who could still continue to develop.
I think that, bro, I don't like that franchise tag shit, bro. That's kind of fucked up. Because, like, you can have a good season and be like, oh, yeah, we want franchise tag. You can have an okay season. Now we get to drop your price now. I'm like, what? No. That's petty as shit. Like, so I got to pretty much have 2 good seasons to get a good contract, bro. Like, nah. I hate that franchise tag shit, man.
Fields was the 11th overall pick at the 2021 NFL Draft, and that quarterback class has turned out to be a huge disappointment looking back. Fields got his time at Chicago to see what he could do, and he did have some pretty good moments. His rookie season wasn't pretty after he took over for Andy Dalton, but he did show promise later in 2022, especially on the ground. That season, he threw for 17 touchdowns and rushed for 8 touchdowns to go with 1,143 yards rushing, making him just the 3rd quarterback to rush for over 1,000 yards in a season, joining Michael Vick and Lamar Jackson. Chicago then made a big move to get Fields a true wide receiver one,
DJ Moore.
getting DJ Moore from the Panthers in that trade for the 1st overall pick. He went on to have a great season with 1,364 yards and 8 touchdowns, but Fields still didn't make the jump. In 3 seasons, he just wasn't good enough in Chicago. And with a prospect like Caleb Williams on the horizon, the Bears are likely just going to take him and reset their quarterback contract. But on the other hand, the Steelers can get a high-ceiling backup on a rookie deal who can start if Russell Wilson struggles or gets hurt. It kind of works out for both parties, really. Pittsburgh has already told Fields that Wilson is going to be the starter, so it doesn't sound like there will be a quarterback competition in the
man, Justin Fields better go out there and start slinging that motherfucker. Fuck that. Fuck what they say.
Russell Wilson signing an extension with the Steelers after the 2024 season. And if that happens, the money will absolutely depend on this upcoming year.
Facts.
For now, the Steelers save a ton of extra cap room with him on that veteran minimum. The Steelers made a pretty big splash, giving Patrick Queen a 3-year, $41 million contract after 4 seasons with the rival Ravens. They've also been busy fixing up
I ain't gonna lie, 41 million, you can have that nigga. I ain't even gonna lie, I can have that nigga for 41 million. He ain't worth no 41 million over here, you feel me? But get your money, man, get your money.
Wilson will now be running. Pittsburgh went on to release Allen Robinson, who did end up being pretty disappointing last season.
Yeah, what the fuck? I didn't know he was still in the league.
Pickett was throwing him the ball. Deontay Johnson is also gone. He was traded to the Panthers for cornerback Dante Jackson in a pick swap. He was the Steelers' 2nd leading receiver with 717 yards and was
that should be good. Steelers know how to draft wide receivers. That's one thing the Steelers know how to draft is wide receivers.
Who had 1,140. It's safe to say that the Steelers are going to look very different. It's super rare to have an entirely new quarterback room from the season prior, and there's going to be a new offensive coordinator in charge too, Arthur Smith. Matt Canada was fired in November during the season, and now it'll be Arthur Smith running the show after he was fired after 3 seasons as the Falcons head coach. Now, don't let him getting fired in Atlanta fool you. He did have a lot of success with the Titans, especially as their offensive coordinator with Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry. Things didn't go well.
All right, that's kind of bad for the Ravens because we got Derrick Henry now, so he low-key probably know how to slow down Derrick Henry. I ain't going to say stop because you can't stop Derrick Henry, but slow down Derrick Henry.
When he was under Mike Vrabel. Only now, it's under Mike Tomlin. Tomlin benefited from some good years of Ben Roethlisberger, but now it's time for another chapter after Kenny Pickett didn't work out. It's hard to say if it'll work out with Russell Wilson, but even if it doesn't, Pittsburgh has a backup plan in Justin Fields for a reason. So it seems like the Steelers know exactly what they're doing.
Facts. Hey, man, that's going to do it for the Steelers know exactly what they're doing. Let me get back to y'all real quick. I'm trying to make sure this video don't play. Fuck you. This is my last video anyway. We can exit this out. But yeah, man, that's going to do it for the video. Let me see in the comments below. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Hope y'all enjoyed the vibe, man. Peace.